We won't call it a titanic matchup in the SEC, but an under the radar big matchup with Kentucky taking on Ole Miss, Rebels, and Wildcats getting it on. And we've got Kevin McGuffey on the line from Last Word on College Football to help us break it down. Kevin, how you doing?
I'm doing good, Mark. Thanks for having me on again, as always. And I don't know, I'm going to call it a Titanic battle. Why not? Okay. I was kind of hoping that they might actually get that 3:30, the 3:30 window this weekend, but I guess Alabama and Arkansas was too good to pass up. But you do have 7th ranked Kentucky. It's their highest ranking since 1977. At the end of the 1977 season, they were ranked 6th, and unfortunately, due to probation, that team couldn't go to a bowl game. Could have been a Sugar Bowl. Who knows what would have happened that year? But and 14th ranked Ole Miss. I'm really looking forward to it. I think it's going to be quite a contest down there in Oxford.
I tend not to bring up those rankings. Those other rankings.
I know you have the official rankings. So yeah, you have the official
ranking pegged for a while now. So
yeah, that's true.
All right. 31-23 over Northern Illinois. This seems to be the Kentucky way. They take on a MAC team, and they were never seriously threatened, but still, it was a one-score game, and they just seem to do what they need to do to notch the win and move on.
Yeah, and as the longtime Kentucky, we like to call ourselves the long-suffering Kentucky fans or whatever. You still can't help because there's so many things that have happened in the old days of Kentucky finding the ways to lose games that they should have won. As you said, really, they weren't in any danger. It did get a little tight there at the end where Northern Illinois got that score, and then their kicker hit like this perfect onside kick. If you saw it, it just bounced, and the second bounce just went boom, and right over top. I think it was Dane Key, over top of his head, outstretched arms, and then Trevin Wallace fell on the ball. I still think yeah, as you said, Kentucky was going to be fine, but you still can't, even after all these years, still have that moments of doubt. It's just part of it. But yeah, it wasn't a very exciting performance at all against Northern Illinois. They gave up 5 sacks. That's been a problem this season with the rebuilt offensive line. You think about they lost Aaron Kennard and Luke Fortner, those guys, and the line has struggled, and it's hard to believe for all the success that we've had. The Kentucky's had, talking about the Big Blue Wall and the running game, and that's where Kentucky has really struggled. I think it's 14 or 16 sacks that they've given up so far, in 4 games, and they had 5 against 5 against Northern Illinois. I think it was 4 against Youngstown State. That's not. You shouldn't be giving up that many sacks, especially against an FCS school. But, we'll see what happens on Saturday. Definitely, Ole Miss's defense is pretty strong. I think I was doing my research for my preview for last week. I think they're 29th in the country in total defense. I think it's something like 312 yards a game they're giving up. So it's definitely going to be a step up. But, the last time Kentucky took that step up, they played a really, really good game against Florida. And for everyone in the Big Blue Nation, we're hoping that it's going to be that way again on Saturday.
I definitely know that Ole Miss is taking some strides to improve the defense over the performance of the last few years, and the recruiting class actually focused more on defense this past year than offense, believe it or not, with Lane Kiffin there. Their top 5 to 6 recruits were all defense, right. But that 29th ranking is against a pretty lousy schedule thus far. So it's been pretty bad. Right. Georgia Tech 42-0 a week ago. So Cavassier Smoke, everyone's favorite name, pass me another Cavassier. Had a nice game here, 12 carries for 85 yards against Northern Illinois, but there's good news for the Kentucky running attack.
Right. Chris Rodriguez, Kentucky's all-SEC caliber running back. It will be back this week. He's missed the first 4 games to suspensions. We won't get into all that. He missed 1 game basically because of a DUI, and then the other 3 were because of an NCAA thing. And we'll just, that's still never been fully disclosed. But yeah, so you've got Chris Rodriguez coming back, and Cavassier Smoke, I think, has done a really good job. And Kentucky, has been hit hard with injuries. You talked about. The last time you and I talked, we talked about Ramon Jefferson, who was the guy from Sam Houston State that they were counting on. He tore his ACLs and is out for the year. So, and then they lost, didn't have Rodriguez, but now he's back, and basically he's angry. And I think the UK staff, likes what they see. He's done what he's needed to do, and he's ready. They're hoping to, as Stoop said, we don't need him to be Superman. We just need him to be solid. And I look for him to have a really good game. You think, like we're talking about earlier with the offensive line, Kentucky is next. I think is next to last in the SEC in rushing yards per game at 81. And when would we have ever, go in those last 5 or 6 years, ever thought about that? And they're also, I think, last in the league in yards per carry at like 2.4 or something like that. So right off the bat, and they've had trouble around the end zone as well, putting the ball in the end zone when they're in the red zone. And that's something that Rodriguez, as everyone who knows, who follows Kentucky, that's his game. You get him down near the goal line, give him the ball, and more than likely you're going to score. So that he's going to help shore up that running game. He's going to help them with that red zone offense. Like I said, I don't think everyone's don't think he's going to run for like 300 yards or something like that, but I expect him to have 100 yards, 100 yards, at least touchdown. At least one touchdown on Saturday. And I'm just cutting to the chase now. I'm going out on a limb. I'm going to say Kentucky's going to win. So there you go. So.
Well, Kentucky Ole Miss, I love this matchup. It's going to be a fun one. And the winner of this game has that extra week to be able to say, okay, we're hanging in the race. We're going to possibly be the one team outside of the circle of Alabama, Georgia, and whoever else you want to put in that upper echelon, but it's definitely those two. But to be able to say, hey, we may be around for the long run, and we've notched another SEC win against a quality opponent. So it's going to be an intriguing matchup between Ole Miss and Kentucky. And certainly at the wide receiver position, Robinson continues to post these remarkable yardage figures and be the replacement for Wan'Dale Robinson.
Right. Tavion Robinson, who came to Kentucky through the transfer portal from Virginia Tech, had another great game this past Saturday. I think he's fourth, somewhere around, I think he's 340 yards receiving so far this year. I think he's third or fourth in the SEC. He's been just exactly what Kentucky was hoping for when as a replacement for Wan'Dale Robinson. And you also have to throw in the, for lack of a better term, the dynamic freshman duo of Dane Key and Barrion Brown. Those two guys have just been amazing so far as freshmen coming in, not redshirt freshmen, just coming in, whether you want to call them true freshmen or freshmen. But, both those guys, I think between the two of them, they have 20-some catches, and they're both averaging 15 yards a catch. And they have done some really great things. It's funny that Kentucky, we're used to the ground and pound running the ball, but they're right now winning games with Will Levis and his arm and these really great receivers. And I know during the broadcast, during the Northern Illinois broadcast, one of the announcers for ESPN was saying, if you're a wide receiver and you're looking in that transfer portal, hey, Lexington might be Lexington might be a good stopping place for you. You think about, Wan'Dale Robinson came from Nebraska, had the best season arguably any Kentucky receivers ever had. Tavion Robinson is putting up some big numbers, and then you have the two freshmen. So, why not? You have Rich Gangarello, who has that history with the 49ers and those NFL pro style offenses. So. It's something we don't talk about very much, but Kentucky's becoming a wide receiver, a really, really cool place to play if you're a wide receiver.
All right, Kevin McGuffey, last word on college football, breaking down the Cats for us. You can head on over and catch Kevin's work talking Kentucky football. And, of course, it's a big game against Ole Miss coming up on Saturday night. And, again, last word on college football is the place to be. And, this should be a good one. I'm looking forward to it. Kevin, I appreciate you stopping by.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me on as always, and look forward to talking to you again soon. Thank you.